The Transformers, Episode 70, 5 Faces of Darkness Part 5. In a famous, or perhaps I should say infamous scene, due to the shoddy quality of the animation, Trypticon destroys the volcano where the Autobots' ship was lodged, burying the Ark under a pile of rubble and rendering it inaccessible for the remainder of the series. So, how then is the Ark magically back and operational in our series? It's a question I've been asked more than any other, with the exception of how the Autobots who died in the movie are back in our episodes, which was definitively answered in our first remaster episode, which is live right now on Patreon and free for everyone. You don't even need a Patreon account to watch it. Link in the description below. If this is your first time visiting our channel or don't otherwise know me, I'm Chris, producer of the Transformers G1 Returns project, which is a direct continuation of the original Transformers cartoon from the 80s. As for the Ark question, I will answer that with a question of my own. Did Trypticon even destroy the Ark in the first place? Or did he obliterate a different mountain altogether? That is the question we will be attempting to answer here. But before we get down to business, let's get a few naming conventions straight. I know it's technically a volcano the Autobots' ship is lodged in, but I'm going to use the Marvel Comics name for it, which is Mount St. Hilary, to help differentiate it from the other unnamed mountain we will be examining. I also know the Autobots' ship doesn't actually have a name in the G1 cartoon, but I'm calling it the Ark since it's the widely accepted name for the ship in the fandom. That, and it's far faster than saying Autobot headquarters every time. Alright, now that we've got that out of the way, on to the cross-examination. Since the episode in question was animated by AKOM, who were only consistent with their inconsistency, it's gonna make getting a definitive answer a little more difficult. The Ark's exact positioning and appearance changes, sometimes even within the same scene. I mean, look at this. Jeez, Nelson. AKOM really f***ed up Season 3. But one thing that is consistent, not only in the episode, but the series on the whole, is that the Ark is always lodged in a mountain on the left side of the area. Here in the scene where Trypticon commits his demolition contract, he targets the mountain on the right. The Ark appears to be lodged at the bottom of a different volcano, slightly more foreground left of the area than it appears in most episodes. It's even more obvious in this scene here, where you can see the base of Mount St. Hilary, again to the left, seemingly more in the foreground in this shot. So based on all this, the Ark was, at worst, covered in rubble from the destruction of the adjacent mountain, but we don't even see that. In this scene, the shot is far tighter on the mountain Trips destroyed, and we can't even see where the Ark was, as it would be off screen far left. The fact that the mountain with the Ark appears to be in the foreground and the destroyed mountain appears to be in the background means they could be some distance away. The mountain pretty much collapsed in on itself and didn't get knocked over to the left side, so in my opinion, it's unlikely much, if any, of the debris would have landed on the adjacent mountains. But even if it did land on and cover the Ark entirely, it's still possible the Autobots could have recovered it. I mean, in seasons 1 and 2, it had tons of stalagmites and stalactites growing right through it, and it still works. Why would having rocks land on top of it render it unsalvageable? In all the shots of Trypticon destroying the mountain, not once does he land and attack directly on the Ark. But I digress. Okay, I'll play devil's advocate here and say that the Ark is in fact not really meant to be in the foreground and is indeed meant to be lodged in the mountain that Trypticon destroyed. No, I can't do it. This thing is clearly in front of the mountain, and the orientation is wrong. The Ark was in the middle of the mountain. I mean, sometimes it was to the right a bit, but never on the left. What the hell, AKOM? How did they f*** this up so badly? Was it every animator's first day on the job? Like, this is Bush League. Bush League. So, if Trypticon did in fact target the mountain/volcano next to Mount St. Hilary, Why would he want to destroy that mountain in particular? Well, probably because it's the one with all the guns. Based on the scene where Metroplex throws him into the ocean, it appears there are visually similar mountains all within firing range of where Metroplex is located. So we can assume Autobot City isn't far from where the Ark is located. It would be disadvantageous for Trypticon to take on Metroplex, where he could be shot by the cannons. So, based on all the visual evidence, I'm personally convinced that Trypticon didn't destroy the Ark, but the mountain next to it with all the guns. But before we close this case, let's take a look at what the script says. We'll pick it up just after Trypticon throws Outback flying, since this is the first mention of the volcano. Trypticon lumbers toward the volcano. Angle on Warpath. He's lying on the ground, fairly incapacitated. Warpath. Teletran 1, Zowie! Okay, I'm gonna stop that. Interior volcano, Teletran 1 computer. As Warpath concludes, lights flash and speakers beep. Warpath continued, filtered over the radio. Activate defenses. Cut to the exterior of the volcano, wide angle. Guns pop out from everywhere. A beat, then they fire. Angle on Trypticon. He's hit. He staggers. He lets out a mighty roar. Trypticon, mighty roar. Another angle. Trypticon and the volcano. Trypticon fires back and advances. It's stung but unharmed. On the volcano. Trypticon's laser fire strikes it. The volcano cracks. Its weapons still fire, but they're fewer and weaker. Trypticon and the volcano. The Juggernaut bashes and tears the volcano down with his claws, kicks it with his feet, and in moments it is little more than a pile of rock. Trypticon looks up and lets out a burst of laser fire in celebration. Trypticon victory roar. Autobot volcano smashed. On Warpath and Pipes, they stare at the debris, despondent. Warpath. It never Swoop stood a chance. Wide angle. Trypticon leaves the pile of gravel behind and begins his trek anew. Trypticon. More roar than words. Now crush Autobot City. Angle past Warpath and Pipes to Trypticon as the mammoth monster moves into the distance. Pipes, and without the transforming cog, neither does Metroplex. What? I think they missed a line there. Oh, right, because he's following up what Warpath. Never mind. Angle Trypticon comes into, and he lets, it's the end of the scene. So they only mention the volcano, and they only mention one volcano. They don't mention which. All they mention is he destroyed the one with the guns. They don't specify anywhere in here that the Ark was destroyed. So, I don't know. It's still, AKOM still animated that terribly. But, and that's probably where the confusion lays here. But based on the wording, I think Trypticon was meant to destroy the volcano that housed the Ark. Whether the writer Flint Dille intended for the Ark to be destroyed along with it, though, is unclear. So this is kind of not a huge help. In summary, based on what we can see in the scene from Five Faces 5 and the vague description in the script of what was destroyed, at worst, we can say Trypticon destroyed an Autobot mountain base, which had a defense system. We cannot conclusively say he destroyed the main Autobot HQ. At best, we can say, mainly based on what's shown in Five Faces scene, he most likely did not destroy the main Autobot mountain, nor the Ark. So there you have it. Pretty compelling evidence, wouldn't you say? I was initially actually thinking of trying to somehow cobble together a scene of the Autobots taking the rubble off of the Ark, but after looking into this a little further, I just don't think that that's even necessary. Plus, I don't think watching the Autobots essentially just clean something up is very compelling television. But anyway, I know there's still people who are gonna say that the Ark was destroyed in spite of all this evidence, so if you still think Trypticon destroyed the Ark, let's just say Metroplex picked up the pile of rubble off the Ark, chucked it in Trypticon's face, and installed a fresh new mountain in its place. The end.